So Jamie's just a full-on villain, I guess. I was wrong. There's no redemption.
Yes, I was right. Let's go. Jamie's going full villain mode.
I don't even care that I was wrong. I wanted to be right. I don't know. I just think the storyline's getting a little bit stale.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just a piece of shit, and it's time to go to the train station.
Well, I mean, this does suggest that it's either going to be Beth or him that's going to die this season.
If there is a place our enemies go and nobody ever knows they went, and they will never come back. And I think that's the place for Jamie.
We came into this season knowing from Taylor that a big character is going to die this season, going to shake shit up a bit. And we've been speculating whether or not it's going to be Beth or Jamie. I could see it being either of them at this point, but we've got some comments that talked about it too. It's probably not going to be Beth. Like, let's be honest. Killing Beth.
It's going to be Beth.
I don't think so.
Oh,
Beth's got to get up out of here.
I haven't seen the balls from Taylor Sheridan throughout this show that would be necessary to kill off Beth. It would be like The Walking Dead killing off fucking Daryl, which they should have done. Because it would have been a major thing. You know, I think back, I don't know how many people who watch Yellowstone have watched The Walking Dead. I think you guys probably have watched The Walking Dead, right? Like a majority of it?
Majority of it, yeah.
Did you watch it up until when like the big fucking Negan killing happened?
Oh, yeah. And I stopped a little bit after that.
So
when he popped Glenn in the head with that bat.
Yeah, not to go off on a tangent, but that moment is a huge, huge, huge event in the comic books. Therefore, the comic book fans who were watching the show were like waiting for that to happen.
Right.
But the show played it off in a way that like, oh, is it going to be Glenn? We don't know. Could be anyone. Could be anyone. And they fucking let that go for an entire off season. And then it was just Glenn. So they didn't really change it up. The whole time I had been saying like, make it fucking Daryl. He's the biggest character on the show. It would be as impactful as it was in the comic book to kill Glenn.
Right.
But they didn't have the balls to do that. And here I'm kind of feeling the same way. Like, you kill Beth, that's like a fucking shot across the bow. That's like, holy fuck. He means business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they would have to spend like an entire season like without Rip. Like he'd go off into the woods and sulk for a year and then come back and murder everybody. Like, how do you do that?
There's a lot of potential plot deviations that could happen because of Beth's death. And as I said last time, I don't really think Jamie's that impactful of a character other than being like a minor annoyance that they always end up beating in the long run, right? So without him,
to his credit, his argument wasn't really that bad.
No, I actually agree with him. I said this last time. I do agree with him. But he's still
a piece of shit.
So. Yeah, correct. He is a piece of shit, but I agree with his sentiment. He is right that the biggest threat to the ranch is John and John's unwavering mentality.
Stubbornness.
And his stubbornness of like, nope, we're going to just stick to what we know, even though that's not like good for modern times. And she knows he's right too, because you saw the look in her face when they had their little showdown this episode.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think Beth is really starting to feel her loss. Like her loss of power is like starting to really like materialize here now. Because Jamie's like, he's really got the advantage, I think, in this showdown that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Because what does Beth even have now? Like she isn't the raider anymore. She's
she
can't
really expose the dead body because she didn't know about the train station, but now she does. So she knows that he was actually playing chess with her and he won that one.
She does have John's ear,
She's
though.
got no leverage.
Not against Jamie.
Against Jamie, no. But her,
except that she said she would take his baby.
Her I think her advantage still remains that she has John's ear. Like he listens to her a lot of the time. Speaking about like this little fucking this beef we're gonna have now. Like he's gonna go hire some fucking like crazy New York fucking professional fucking cleaners, it seems. And like what's she gonna do to go after Jamie? Like probably get Casey and Rip and like, the regular group of people. But I don't know. It's just a little bit bizarre to me.
Well, I mean, if he's trying to send a hit squad, I mean, that didn't work out very well last time for the hit squad. They all got sent to the fucking train station.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
he's got to do something, I don't know, a little bit smarter. I don't know. He needs some chemical warfare. Just take out the whole ranch at once.
Use a fucking crop duster. Just fucking fly over. But like you made the
Well,
joke.
that's what she was saying. Make it. They're professionals. They're not hitmen. They would make it look like an accident.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
That's true.
we could see a death where it's not. Nobody knows. Everybody's curious. Everybody's questioning.
That is true.
The greatest threat to that ranch is our father. And you know that too. So I will remove the threat.
I think in order for this to be a successful sort of plot, I think it has to be like all out fucking like full on kind of what the last hit should have been, but kind of fizzled out. Because that hit, when they played it, when they did that at the season finale, or the season 3 finale, and John got hit, it was like, oh, fuck. But the payoff wasn't really, it didn't really match the intensity of the initial, like, hit. Because the hit was crazy. It was like everybody got fucking hit. Casey, fucking Beth, the ranch, fucking John. And then it was just like very easily taken care of, and like that, it was just a bunch of like hillbillies, like meth heads or whatever it was.
Right.
So this needs to be, I think, like a full scale, like crazy shit. Like we need a whole season to fucking deal with the aftermath of what's about to happen in order for it to work right. Because like you made the joke about the Dutton Avengers, like let's face it, they do win every single time. Every time
They do.
that they're faced with something, they end up on top. And I get that that's like, that's kind of the fun of the show. But I need a little bit more now. Like, it made me think of Breaking Bad, and I know I reference Breaking Bad a lot, so I apologize to you guys and everybody listening, but like Breaking Bad had like a similar, like Breaking Bad, if you just strip it down and you take away all the great writing and cinematography and acting and all that stuff, it's a pretty formulaic show. It's like each season's pretty much the same. It's like you get a new villain, Walt gets in this jam and has to like figure out how to get out of it. And that's the fun of the show, but there's so much other stuff that's built into it, and then you get that like that path deviation where you realize suddenly like, oh wait, Walt's the villain of the show that I've been rooting for 3 seasons. Now I can't root for him anymore. But we haven't really gotten to that stage yet, and I haven't really seen any signs of something like that coming in Yellowstone. It just seems to be, what's the thing going to be this season, and how will they get out of it?
Right.
But they almost certainly will. Because Breaking Bad got to a point where he couldn't get out of the situation.
Yeah.
That was with the bikers. Hank dying and fucking, his whole fucking empire sort of basically coming down on top of him. Like, Walt got himself into a jam that he just couldn't get out of. Yeah. So when are we going to get that from Yellowstone? That's what I want to know.
Well, we're kind of getting it. We're getting a build up.
You think so, though? You think that's what's going to happen?
Self-destructive Beth. John's a little self-destructive with him being stuck in his ways. So I think the only ones that are keeping stuff together is like Rip and like Casey. But Casey is not like super active.
No, Casey's kind of just doing his own thing.
Yeah. So if we keep seeing this like self-destruction of Beth and John, I don't know, it's looking bad for the Duttons. Well,
I mentioned a few episodes ago that it seems like this season, at least the first half of it, has been, I wouldn't say teasing, that's not the right word, but sort of like massaging the idea of the next generation, right? We've gotten, and especially in this episode too, we've gotten a lot of like stuff involving, Tate. We're seeing how Tate's sort of being groomed to take over the ranch someday. That's clearly John's vision for it, because that's his only grandchild so far.
Right.
Carter's starting to come into his own as a little young adult. He's starting to hang out with like women and whatever. Jamie mentioned to Beth like my son, and Tate, like that's everybody. Everybody knows that they're the future of the ranch, and they're just fighting in their own way to figure out how to preserve it to pass it on to them, right? I realized with this episode that that's been the main reason for the flashbacks to the early days, seeing Rip become like...
Yeah. Seeing how Rip get his brand.
A brand.
Pretty awesome.
How Rip got his brand. He became the right-hand man. So, sorry.
Yeah. I was just going to say, although Rip is the type of dude that wouldn't even need the brand. Like, he was pretty loyal from the jump.
Yeah. Well, the brand is sort of like a weird, like kind of fucked up, like symbol
It's
of
like an
of-
initiation into the gang, basically.
Yep.
it is, but it's and John pretty much says so when he's talking to Rip in that scene in the beginning of this episode. It's basically the ranch's symbol of the ranch's loyalty to the person.
That's right.
Like, you've been loyal to me. Well,
the person is choosing loyalty to the ranch by getting the brand, and then the branch will in turn
provide its loyalty.
I mean, the funny thing is, and even Rip was joking around like, I didn't even know I had a choice. It's like, by the time you're offered the brand, you don't have a choice because you're gonna go to the fucking train station if you don't accept it. So it's like,
That's kind of what Lloyd was getting at when he was like, no, you got a choice. He's like, we'll drive you back out to Wyoming, but you ain't coming back from that one.
Exactly.
So you really don't have a choice.
Can I just say, also, I fucking hate past Lloyd's voice. It's way too normal compared to actual Lloyd.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
how does that transition happen?
Listen, actual Lloyd is a grizzled veteran. Okay, you don't just get that voice when you're young. That's
20 years of development.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's cigarettes and whiskey and early mornings gets you that voice.
Yeah.
Moving on into the episode, we get our boy back.
Jimmy.
Yeah. Jimmy's back.
Also,
and he's got fucking pubes on his chest. He needs to cut that shit off immediately. We got to catch up with him, but that fucking chest hair was terrible.
I got a little gripe with that too. It was cool to see Jimmy for sure, but what was the point of that?
See, I disagree because this is the shit I love about Yellowstone. Them doing some cowboy shit with a country song playing in the background. I can watch that shit all day. I don't even listen to country music normally.
But yeah, no, the show definitely plays good music, and I like that stuff too.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just settled into itself. It's kind of gotten, I don't know, it just feels like this season's kind of just like going with the motions of Yellowstone. I think one of the strengths of this show is that it is super digestible for people like me who have completely no connection to any of the things that this show talks about in terms of like cowboying and just ranching in general, hunting, like all the themes that the show plays with. Where you, Dusty, your upbringing, you're probably a lot more familiar with stuff like this. And I don't know about you, Marvin, but maybe not as much.
I mean, my stepdad had horses when I was growing up. Yeah. So I've ridden horses.
Yeah.
Throughout my youth, and my uncle has horses and that sort of thing.
That's cool.
I wasn't really big into it as much as like family was, but yeah, I'm pretty familiar with it.
So I guess what I was getting at is where I feel that that's the strength of the show. Obviously, I think Taylor Sheridan knows that's the strength of the show. The writers know that that's the strength of the show. And I feel like by this, they've settled into that now. Mm-hmm. And it's like very much about that now. It's like, okay, we've gotten people on board. Now we could just do the cowboy shit, like constantly.
Well,
I mean, but we're going to see a very rapid departure of what we've been used to because
seems like
most of the cast isn't even going to be at the Yellowstone anymore. Some are going to Colorado, some are going to Texas. I mean, Casey's going to be left behind to probably deal with the wolf issue, and he doesn't know what the fuck's going on with that. So that'll be interesting. But like, I think the reason that they brought Jimmy in to show him is because I think he's going to play a part with the crew that goes down to Texas. I think Teeter and them are going because they're telling about how her accent is not going to get any better.
And they will have to bridge the gap somehow between this show and the Quad 6 show. Whenever that comes out. I
don't remember when it comes out.
But I'm glad you mentioned that because obviously that was a big feature of this episode, which is the mid-season finale, is them all sort of parting ways and going wherever they're going, and some people staying behind, like you said. I have a feeling we're just going to get a big time jump in between.
Oh yeah,
this episode and the next one.
They're just going to be back.
I think that I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. Maybe we get one episode where they're like towards the tail end of their trip.
Back, maybe.
But I definitely think
something could happen like on the way back.
Well, keep in mind they're going for the winter, and I don't know if you know this or not, but I don't think this show's done it either. Shooting in the wintertime in places like this is very, very expensive and sometimes downright impossible, like especially in Montana. It's one of the reasons The Walking Dead, I don't know if you know, or I don't know if you remember, but it always picked up post-winter. Like it always picked up in the spring each season. Right. It's because they don't shoot in the wintertime. And I have a feeling...
I guess it's not like the 80s where you could just like get the fake snow and stuff.
Yeah.
And it won't pass. It won't be passable.
The production costs just get way too extreme. So I have a feeling maybe we'll, like I said, maybe we'll get one episode where we're at the tail end of the trip, but I don't think they're going to have.
I mean, this gives them the opportunity to shoot more, actually, because Taylor owns the Quad 6 Ranch. So if they want to shoot cowboy shit, this is like they're out there. I mean, they can still shoot like indoor shit, political shit, you know, him being the governor and all that. But
well, I mean,
there's 6 episodes left. I think we'll get 2, maybe even 3 episodes. They come back on the 3rd. I think we'll get 2 full episodes of them. Like,
it's possible.
You're stronger than I was. Guess that's how it's supposed to be. I love you, son.
It is going to be interesting though to see, because this episode was also very clearly John like saying goodbye to the ranch, like fully committing to what he has to do as governor. Yeah, because you know he kind of like that was like a pretty nice goodbye. I had a note about that moment between him and Casey, and he kind of
hugged Casey.
Yeah, he hugged Casey, and he said, "You know, you're stronger than I am." I guess that's how it's supposed to be.
I mean, he could be the one that brings it all down.
You think? I mean, he could. I don't.
His vision is that he has to choose between his wife and the ranch, and they're still debating on whether or not him helping out is choosing the ranch or them staying, you know, on the East Camp or whatever.
So
but he could come to a head where he has to choose to do something that would potentially save the ranch or go help / save his wife, and he chooses his wife, and that's the end of it.
Could be.
Yeah, they talked about that towards the end, hinting at Casey's vision just meaning nothing at all. And I'm like, no way that happens. It's way too much build up. I see an even worse future for them now because they think everything's sweet and good.
Right.
They're gonna ease up. Maybe he's not gonna be as cautious about whatever because he thinks the decision is passed. But
yeah,
I think this is just the calm before the storm. It's definitely going down on the second half of this season 5.
I don't know that the vision thing is meant to be taken like literally and maybe just done more as like symbolism for his like being torn between these two worlds. But
maybe, but I mean, it was a pretty dramatic time, like seeing him actually go through the vision and making the trek to that tree and all that. So for them to just, it was just, just nothing. It was just a little side thing. I don't know.
My concern would be that trend of things that get built up in this show that don't have a payoff, because it does happen quite a bit. I think anyway.
Going back to what you said about Beth needs to be running the ranch.
Yeah.
I think the problem, with all of them probably, besides Jamie, is that they're protecting John's idea of the ranch instead of what they should be doing with the ranch. And this is what is destroying the ranch. So John really is just the problem altogether. I think but he's never going to step down because he thinks what he thinks is right, which is obviously not right for his family, the state.
I was going to save this to the end, but I think they're all at fault. I don't think it's just John. John's a big part of it because he is the steward of the family and he's like the head of the ranch currently.
Yeah.
But I think they are all at fault because it's each of them having a separate vision. Like John wants to stick with the old ways. I think Jamie does care about the ranch, and I think he does care about his family legacy. I don't doubt that. But like Dusty has said, he's just a piece of shit and is going about it in a way where he also kind of wants power and respect that he feels he's owed. But I think he does care. But his vision is like, oh, well, like we need to let this airport fucking come up so we could turn some profit and stuff like that. So he sees it that way. Beth sees it a different way where she's like, no, we need to like get into different type of business. Right now, we're just selling cattle. We need to start actually selling beef and shit. So like just them.
The problem with that is because she's so stuck with running the ranch or protecting John's idea of the ranch, she shut down the whole airport thing, which would have been the business that they needed.
Well, that's what I mean. No one person is really like taking time to like even try to like think about an alternative sort of strategy. Yeah. It's just what they think, and then they try to force that opinion onto John, which only makes him recoil more. And so like there's going to be a lot of political and like corporate espionage stuff, I think, coming in the rest of the season.
I wish they would focus more on that instead of it immediately. Oh, okay, now we just gotta.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to die.
Well,
Like, jump right to.
Yeah, and
Well,
that's
I guess but that goes back to like
Yellowstone
like,
formula.
Yeah, it's John's way of doing things, is killing all the enemies, and now Beth is like just picking up on his ways instead of playing it a little bit smarter. I don't know.
Well, Beth
That's
is
what it seems like.
also very emotional because she fucking hates Jamie.
Yeah.
So
true.
that's like part of it, and I think Jamie is also like I think a big part of this is like the Jamie versus Beth factor.
Yeah.
Like
it's
they
huge,
both
yeah.
have a personal vendetta, and they're using this situation as the way to handle it instead of just like doing it on their own privately.
Right.
Like if you want to fucking kill me, just leave the fucking ranch out. Yeah. Either way.
Well, I'm still interested in the Fed versus state over both the land and the wolves. I'm interested. I don't think that's really going to come to a head this season. I think it's going to be something that it comes to a head at the end of the season, and then we see them dive into it.
The wolves
next season, where the Dutton. Well, it's going to be the Duttons and the Rainwaters and the tribe against the federal government,
right?
Because we know the other lady has the ear of the president. She's on his council and whatever.
Yep.
So,
True.
That's going to start boiling up and then spill over.
Mine would probably be. I still want to see what happens with Casey and the Vision, and what happens with like the Native Americans as far as if they are actually going to get some type of this land back from the ranch.
Yeah.
So I think it's coming, but I just don't know how far down the line. Kind of similar to what Dusty said. Like it's not going to be a main focus for a while.
Yeah. I'm most interested in seeing what happens with Casey. I want to see some more stuff with him because he's kind of just been a background character this season, and it's a little disappointing. But I mean, I get it. There's a lot of stuff to cover and a lot of characters, so sometimes characters have to take a back seat, but I'm ready. Do we know when the next episode is coming? I know we looked it up.
No, they haven't announced. They haven't announced it yet. 6 episodes left. It'll probably be maybe the spring.
But yeah, folks, that's our thoughts on this season finale, mid-season finale of Yellowstone. This was episode 8, titled "A Knife and No Coin." So let us know your thoughts down in the comments. Let us know what your speculation is. And if you have not done so already and enjoy the content, leave a like, consider subscribing. You can click on the Yellowstone playlist right over there, and you can see our coverage of the previous episodes. But we'll catch you in the next one when the season returns.
See ya.
Asta.